you also have to think of it as you're not building a website for yourself. So
Yeah.
what you think is good is not necessarily going to resonate with everybody, especially not your clients. There's a reason why it's called a call to action. You're asking people to take an action, but then you need to know what do you want these people to do. Learn more is the worst thing that we've ever seen, and we see a lot of businesses still doing it in this decade.
So, Mr. Tomati, so where do most businesses lose money on their website without realizing it?
Honestly, it's the small things.
Yeah.
A lot of people expect it to be a very obvious thing, but it's usually the nitty gritties that many people don't pay attention to, especially when they choose to work with firms that are not very strategic or professional in their approach to web development and SEO. So when I say the small things, you're thinking of call to actions on the website or the lack of call to actions. You're thinking of headlines, the sub headlines that they're using on their website, and the lack of elements that help to build trust. Now, when you're looking at a service-based business that's doing more than 3 million shillings in monthly revenue, they've already figured out a lot of things about their audience and their service, but a lot of them still don't put in the effort or, uh, you know, go the extra mile to work with professionals who are going to optimize their websites to convert uh, cold leads and people who are just discovering their website for the first time. So, in summary, it's the small things that you don't really pay attention to. Like, how are you wording the headlines on your website?
Okay.
Does the hero section help to build trust? Does it tell the customers or the visitors to your website what it is that you do, who you do it for, and why they should care about it? And you also want to have call to actions that actually drive the user to, you know, contact you. And the last thing is, if the forms on your website feel like a questionnaire, they are more likely to drive away a lot of people.
Okay.
You want to keep it simple and you want to make it as easy as possible for people to get in touch with you, to learn about your services, and to give you money. Because I think that's the objective of any business.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you feel like have you ever seen an instance where, like, an example of a business where they didn't put into consideration just what we talked about? And
Yes. Actually, that is something we've done a lot. We've done a lot of web redesigns
okay.
because you find that certain businesses, especially the ones that we've worked with, they tend to have a very old school approach to client acquisition, and they don't really pay attention much to what's happening on their websites.
Okay.
So you find that they'll choose to work with somebody who's just going to give them a website. Find a simple student or a beginner who doesn't really know how the strategy works, who doesn't have concrete proof, and they don't have the experience that you need to make a website work.
Okay.
And so they'll contract this person. They don't really pay too much attention to the funnel and how clients are going to view their website.
Okay.
And with that, they end up just building a website for several years into the future. It's costing them more money than it's making.
Yeah.
Paying
Sure.
for hosting, you're probably putting a bunch of content over there, but it's not generating any leads or any money for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's usually the small tweaks, and we try to incorporate data and other elements that make a website actually loved by Google and loved by your clients, such as speeding up a website. You don't want to go with the cheapest hosting you can find. You want something that's going to load up quickly because
Yeah.
the internet is a free market. You're competing with everybody else out there. And if you're not willing to go the extra mile, then somebody else is going to do that and they're going to take away the revenue from you.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
So we've seen it a lot, and it's a
It's
common
something.
thing,
Yeah.
especially in Kenya.
In Kenya, right?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people
Okay.
still think that a website is just something you have that
You have. Yeah.
you tell people, oh yeah, I have a website, but no, it's supposed to complement your marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. If a business is scaling beyond referrals, what changes on their websites need to happen?
So if your business has been generating revenue mainly through referrals, that's a specific model, but it tends to peak at a certain point.
Okay.
You'll get the clients. Think of it as a graph. You'll keep getting referrals, but at one point you'll still be serving the same people. And now you want to think of your business as a brand. Once
Okay.
you're trying to break past the 3 million shillings barrier, you want to think of your business as a brand and you want to build a reputation. And that's where SEO comes in. And for most people, you want to also think of acquiring cold leads. These are people who've never heard about you. They've not been referred. They're just landing onto your website for the first time. So with such businesses, they have a lot more work to do when it comes to building trust and confirming the reputation that they already have on the market.
Okay.
And there are certain simple ways that you can do this, but the most common and most effective one is testimonials.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of our purchasing decisions are influenced by what we see others do.
Exactly.
It's innate in human nature where we see somebody do something and we think, okay, if it's good for them, it's probably going to be good for me too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you have a lot more work to do in acquiring people who've never heard about you, because testimonials, sorry, referrals alone are not going to be sufficient for
Yeah, yeah.
growing past certain barriers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in especially in Kenya. When
Yes.
you ask, let's say a dentist or a dental the dental industry, how are we getting customers? They'll confidently tell you like, yeah, it's just yeah, referrals and just good. They don't understand the other things you can do in the long term that will
Yeah.
help you scale. You're just in that bubble of referral is just they are all
Correct.
good with the referrals, but it doesn't you can't scale so much with referrals, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. You want to think of the brand. These days a website is not just a flyer on the internet, because
yeah,
anybody can build a website, but you want to approach SEO into making your business a brand, especially when you're trying to break past certain financial
yeah.
milestones.
Milestone, exactly.
So when you're going from 3 million, what worked to get you to 3 million is not going to be the same as going to break you past the 3 million
The 3 million
barrier.
mark. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's understandable. So yeah, it's a really common thing, especially in the service industry in Kenya, where
Absolutely.
everyone is saying, okay, yeah, I'm just good with referrals, but it's okay, good, but you're waiting. It's like it's a hope, and hope is not a strategy. So
It
you have to have
isn't.
something else that will help you take it to the next level. Do you ever see websites that are aligned with businesses most profitable offer? Like, have you ever seen in that instance?
Yes, that is something that we've seen a lot, where a business could have a particular service that generates a significant portion of their revenue, but they don't really pay attention to that. And especially in the service industry, we see that certain businesses approach SEO from, what wouldn't really work for a service business, where it's just you're writing blog posts. And
Okay,
blog posts they're good, but those alone are not going to get you sales.
okay,
You want to pay attention to the service pages, and you want to prioritize what's generating the most revenue for you.
okay,
Yeah. So as a business, you the core of your business to be centered around what's working best for you, and don't try to scale too fast.
yeah,
It's better to niche down into what's working the best for you and be the best at that. And later on, when it makes business sense, then you can scale out and think about, you know, extending your expertise into other services and service areas.
okay,
Yeah. So a problem that I've seen with a lot of websites is that they don't optimize the pages that are supposed to bring in revenue.
mm,
So when you're writing blog posts alone and you don't really think about what the service pages are going to look like, uh, you're losing money,
okay,
potential revenue, and all that is going to your competitors.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a common thing. Like most people, they just rely on blog posts. That, like you said, have you ever seen any business where there's a mismatch in alignment? An example, have you ever seen an instance?
Yes, that happens a lot. And when you rely on blog posts alone, a common issue that comes up is you get a lot of traffic, but very little leads. In fact,
Yeah,
not many people even end up on your contact page or any of the forms on your website. And that's a big problem, because if you're getting traffic, but that traffic is not converting, that doesn't sound like a very sustainable business model. And
Mm,
Yeah, it's probably going to be costing you a lot more money to maintain the website
okay.
compared to what you're going to get from the website.
Okay. A valid point. Yeah. Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's a common challenge I've seen in Kenya,
It's
especially.
yeah, it's a really big thing, and most the service industry they need like take care of they only rely on blog posts. They only say, oh yeah, and it's not something that you are really consistent in. Even if they're doing the blog post, it's not
Yes.
something that they really take a lot of time to do. They
Yeah.
just do it and they don't know why they're doing it. Yeah,
An approach that we've recommended to a lot of clients, and from our data, more than 80 businesses that we've worked with,
yeah,
it's always good to have landing pages on your website
yeah.
because those are the pages that are going to make you the most revenue.
Okay,
Blog posts are good for informing the public about what services you offer, how it benefits them. But then when you need to make money, you need the actual landing pages for your services.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, landing pages are really. We'll come to that topic of landing page. It's a really sensitive topic, and we'll
Oh,
come
it
to that.
is.
Yeah,
It
but
is. It
landing
is.
pages is a really big thing, and people should really be educated on how to do landing pages and how they work and why should they do it and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I agree.
What's the danger of running ads or doing SEO without a conversion optimized site?
Uh, so if your website is not optimized for conversion, of course it's going to lose you revenue or potential revenue because you're spending money on ads. You're probably spending money on people that are, employees to your business who are updating the pages, or you're maybe paying a retainer to a farm like ours.
Yeah.
If you're spending money, but that money is not, you know, generating revenue for you, it's a big problem.
Okay.
And the thing that happens is people land on your website and maybe you don't have the correct copy that resonates with them. You don't explain how you are going to solve their problems, and you don't have the right call to actions. So people land onto your website, but then they don't know what steps to take next.
Okay.
And when somebody lands on your website and they are confused, their very first instinct is to bounce off because,
Exactly.
in today's digital era, we have very short attention spans, and the
Exactly.
market is so much more competitive. So
Yeah.
if you're not going to give somebody a reason to do business with you, they're more likely to bounce right off and go do business with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you approach development, especially from our perspective, we tend to understand the customer first before we even go about building a website,
Okay.
which is very contrary to how we see so many people do it out there in the industry, where if somebody wants to do a website, the first thing they talk about is, oh, what color palettes are we going to use?
Okay.
Oh, what fonts are we going to use? But that is the very last thing that comes in. First, you want to understand the customer. You want to map the customer journey, and you want to build off of that to develop a funnel that eventually becomes a visually appealing website that now generates revenue to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to approach it from the customer's perspective, not your own perspective or what you think is good for the customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. How important is it for the website to reflect the actual value of a client?
The value of a client, you need to understand your clients and their needs and what this client values in their approach to life.
Okay.
Because there are certain clients who they value premium services, they value quality, and they are willing to spend money on that. And you have certain clients who value affordability, the necessities. Understanding this is essential when you're approaching web design. It affects everything on your website, from the copy to the kind of images you're going to use, and the kind of testimonials that you're going to have. It all comes into play to build an overall strategy that complements your marketing. And a key thing about websites is that they're one of the fastest ways to build trust for a business, especially a service-based business. Everything else, such as referrals or handing out your business card, yeah, they may play a role, but it's your website that people are going to spend a lot of time on, and they're going to click around, they're going to read things, they're going to look at the images, and all that comes into play into communicating the value. So if you have a service-based business that, for example, has an average client value of, let's say, 100,000 or more,
Okay.
and we've worked with certain companies around Nairobi that sell to an average audience that's going to spend 150,000 shillings.
Okay.
These are people who value premium services, and you want to give them a premium experience. This is somebody who they don't have a lot of time on their hands. They're probably a busy professional. They
Okay.
have a lot of things to do. You don't want to give them a slow loading website that has a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
pop-ups and a
exactly.
lot of gimmicky things, because these are people who they're not very easily impressed. You have to give them a reason why they should do business with you.
Okay.
So trying to use the most gimmicky marketing or sales language is not going to work for this kind of audience, and you're more likely to drive them away, because these are people who they have money to spend, but they don't have a lot of time, and they constantly have people who are trying to sell them something.
Exactly.
But your website needs to be different. You need to communicate the value instead of trying to be salesy.
Yeah. And I've seen it's really common. So people
Yes.
really don't pay attention to the kind of customer you're selling to. So
Yeah.
if you're selling to the rich demographic, these are people who have time, who have money, but they don't have time. So
Yes.
if your website is slow,
Yeah.
automatically they'll bounce off because they have very short amount of time, and they make
Absolutely.
their decision fast. So the moment they come to your website, they want to see whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
and they're instantaneous. Okay, they don't have so much time. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, what's here? What are they providing? I want to make my decision as fast as possible, and
Yeah.
I continue with my business. But most people, they really don't pay attention to the customer, so they don't care about the website uh, loading speed.
Yeah.
They really don't care about handling any objection on the website itself.
Absolutely.
So everything is basic, and they wonder why, okay, why are people not why are people not like why is it there's traffic but there's no conversion?
Yeah.
But they really don't understand there are a lot of things that comes in hand. You can have good ads, but if the website the loading speed is low,
Yeah.
of course there'll be a lot of bounce rate. If they are not like, if the website doesn't communicate whatever the client wants, of course they'll bounce off, and your website will even have a very high bounce off rate. And people need to really, there's a there's a software called Similar Web,
Yeah. Similar.
yeah, which I normally use to analyze a client's website. So I want to see what's the how much time people how much time are people spending on the website, what's the bounce
Exactly.
of rate. If I see if it's high, there's there's a problem with that website.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is always a problem, and this is something every business owner needs to do. You have to understand: am I selling to a very rich demographic? So what do they care about? They don't have so
Exactly.
much time. They want to make the decision fast
Absolutely.
as possible. You have to communicate value. You need to answer all the objections that they have. So it makes it's easier on the client side and to understand, to know what is here. All these are my objections. You've already answered my objections,
Yeah.
so I can just make a decision as fast as possible. Then yeah, you convert your client, but people really don't understand that.
Yeah. Actually, I totally agree with that, and I think it's incredibly important for people to understand that when you're selling to a high value client, they need reassurance. I don't need to do it as quickly as possible, because this is somebody who values their time. And reassurance, in our case, comes in a package of three key elements. You want to look at the design, the marketing, and the proof.
Yeah,
And all these comes into play to justify to this person that they're making the right call by doing business with you.
exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
they are really not. They care about the service more than the money because they already have the money. So
Absolutely.
they just want something. They want to trust you first. They want to make sure the decision they are making is best for them, and they don't
Exactly.
want any second chances like guessing. So do you find that many websites are just listing services instead of actually selling?
Yes, this is something that we've seen a lot. And the key problem with that is it stems from not having a funnel and not developing a strategy before going on to build a website.
Okay,
So a website that just lists out the services is a website that tells people, "Oh, this is what we do," but then they don't go they don't take any steps beyond that to maybe tell the client, "Hey, this is how you're going to benefit from this, and these are the people that." have also benefited from this, and they don't also incorporate storytelling. So with my farm and my team, we tend to employ a strategy that we call the customer journey mapping, which is where we take steps to first of all understand the customers and tell a story that's going to sell to the customer. But we also don't want to be too aggressive with the selling because we live in a digital era where the average person is going to see several hundreds or thousands of ads every single day, and nobody wants to be sold to. We still want to buy things, but we
But
want
people
it to
don't want.
be
Yeah,
our own
exactly.
decision to
Yeah,
buy
exactly. Yeah,
or
yeah.
not to buy.
People want to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. So yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
And how you achieve that is through storytelling. Storytelling has been very effective, since the dawn of mankind. It's how we preserve history. It's how we, you know, get people to resonate with what's going on.
Yeah, yeah,
And through storytelling, you get to put people in the persona's shoes. And we actually use user personas when you're going about web development. You put people in their shoes. You make them resonate with the feelings that the persona had, and it's a very effective way to get people emotionally invested. And as I'm sure, if you've done any sort of marketing, you know that marketing is not entirely logical. It's an emotional, and
exactly.
we justify the emotions with logic.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're trying to sell to somebody, you don't want to be aggressive. You want to use storytelling. Get this person in their shoes. Let them understand that these are the challenges that somebody had. This is how they felt about it. This is the solution they found from our business, and this is how it benefits them. It benefits them later on. And when you put people emotionally invested into whatever you're doing, it's a lot easier for them to justify the purchase. And that works especially when you're dealing with high value clients.
We have really been talking behind the scenes about the storytelling part, and it's really,
Yeah,
really important because most people are just engineered in a way of thinking that I'll get my products from China or
yeah,
Turkey and I'll bring them to the shop and people will just come and buy. They'll just say, I have these products, buy now. And it never works that
it
way.
never works.
They are so logical. Like they
Yeah,
think they'll just get their products from China. They come here, they open the shop, people come like flooding to their shops and people just buying. And
yeah,
it never works. They don't know the essence of branding, the storytelling part. And this is something we have really been talking behind the scenes
exactly,
about the impact it has on most businesses. Yeah. And it's something we have really been talking about behind the scenes on how we're going to incorporate and just even emphasize this art of storytelling to a lot of brands, be it in e-commerce, even in service industry. You have
exactly.
to pull people in. People love stories. People like the aspect of, yeah, like there's something behind, like they want to feel the essence of they're part of something more
Exactly.
than just the product or the service that you're providing. They're part of
I
a
totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah, part of a tribe and something like that. So it's really a big deal, and it's something that we really, really talk about the even off camera.
Exactly. And I totally agree. And to that, I would also want to add that storytelling, as you've said, it helps bring people in and make them feel like they belong in a community. So, in the age that we live in today, a lot of things are a lot different from how we did them, let's say, thousands of years or hundreds of years ago. Today, you don't have to go out to hunt for your food.
Exactly.
You don't have to, I mean, if you live in an urban environment like we do, you don't really, you don't necessarily grow your own food,
Yeah.
but people still want to belong. And that's where storytelling gets people emotionally invested in your brand and they get them to believe in it. Many people don't really pay attention to this, but it happens everywhere. When you look at football clubs and your favorite sports teams, or even your favorite car manufacturer, there's a reason why Ferrari would come out with a model that's going to be lower priced, but then they'll have a more premium model. And you find that one of the reasons why they would charge you way more for a certain model of their car is that
Yeah.
they tell you, oh, this is the last design that was done by Enzo before he left Ferrari or before he passed on.
Yeah.
That gets people emotionally invested and it's all the story. It's about the story. That's what gets people
Yeah, yeah,
buying, and that's what gets people to understand what exactly you're about and why they should care about you.
exactly.
And in the era of so many brands today, especially with the digital, digital space, you find that it's a lot harder for you to differentiate yourself, especially when you're trying to sell logically. You're
Yeah,
all about the features. As you said, you go to Turkey, you get the best products, and all you want to sell is, oh, look at us, we have the best leather shoes, or we have the best made, uh, you know,
yeah,
suits and jackets.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that alone is not sufficient because anybody can do that. But what's the story? Why should I care about you? Why should
Yeah.
I care about your leather handbags?
Do you ever walk through a site as if you're the customer? What do you think stands out?
Yes, actually, visiting a website and going through it as a complete stranger is one of the key strategies that we employ to our approach to web design. We find that a lot of businesses don't really take into consideration what the customers are experiencing on their website. They don't test these user journeys, and that's what's costing them a lot of money. So me and my team, and a lot of people don't know this, but I involve my friends, my family, and I get my team to even involve their friends and their families. And I even have my parents test out my clients' websites and my own personal projects.
Yeah,
And if they cannot understand what exactly you do and who you do it for, that's always a red flag. And trying to build a website without testing what the customers are going to experience when they land on it, like slow load times, think a clunky layout. If you have a website that's not very clear with the messaging, doesn't help to build any proof or trust. A website that has very annoying forms. Nobody wants to fill out a survey anytime they want to get in touch with you. So without understanding what the customers experience out on the field, you're doing a lot of guesswork. And a website is something that you're investing money into. They should be an asset that's generating you revenue. If you don't do that, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and there are a lot of potential clients and leads that you're just letting go to your competitors.
okay.
It's incredibly important. You must understand what exactly the users are experiencing, and that's where our approach with customer journey mapping comes into play.
Most people like they don't understand how a customer shops, what
Absolutely.
they care about when they come to your landing page or your website. You have to really understand. So you now as the expert, it's good getting feedback from people around you. What do you think about?
Exactly.
So you're getting feedback like what's something that can hold you back against making a decision. Then getting that feedback, it helps you like make a conclusion. Okay, I need to adjust this and that. This is what needs to be fixed. Okay, this is okay, but this other part needs to be adjusted. It's a really good thing someone can do on any landing page or any website to
I
make the
agree.
changes, because you can assume it's good, but it's never that good. There's always something you can do to make it better. You can to make it better, right?
Exactly. You also have to think of it as you're not building a website for yourself. So
Yeah,
what you think is good is not necessarily going to resonate with everybody, especially not your clients, because something that I've seen with a lot of businesses, especially those that are doing more than 3 million shillings revenue, they're not really doing the business for themselves. It's about either a skill they have, like a dental office that we've worked with right here in Kilimani. They generate a lot of revenue, but the dentist is not going to treat herself.
exactly.
She's doing it for other people. And for her business, it's important to understand what exactly the customers care about, how the experience is on their website, and why they should do business with her instead of going to somebody else.
Yeah, you have to understand why should they come to me?
Absolutely.
Why me? Why not? Because there are so many people the customer can go to, right?
Exactly.
Why me? Why not another person? So asking those kind of questions helps you like refine your website and how people are going to react to it, and how what can make them not make a decision as much
Exactly.
as
And
possible.
you
Yeah,
mentioned feedback too. And the businesses that are trying to break beyond the 3 million shillings mark, what sets them apart is they take feedback. You have to understand what exactly your customers are experiencing. And that's where firms like ours that are able to conduct user research come into play. And once you understand them, you incorporate the feedback into your business model and your marketing strategy. And that's how you break past certain financial barriers and keep scaling up your business.
people really don't pay attention to feedback, and feedback is something that is really important. You need to know what can make or what kind of objections a customer can have. So feedback is very important. Very
Exactly.
important. Yeah. How do you calculate how much money a business might be losing from low conversions?
So we employ several tactics, but I'd say it's simply a mix of data analytics and simple math.
Yeah.
So you want to think of it this way: if you have a page on your website that's getting 1,000 visitors every month, and 10 of these people end up becoming clients, that's a 1% conversion rate. And if we, employ the tactics that we're supposed to and give the website time to rank, and we boost that number from 1% to 3%, then we'll do simple calculation depending on your business and what the average value of a client is and the average client lifetime value. And we come up with a simple number, which would be how much revenue you're now losing or potential revenue. And we also employ analytics, as I said at the start. We look at data from so many clients. Something about our farm and what sets us apart from, let's say, working with a freelancer you found on Fiverr or any of the other freelancing websites is that we have a lot of data to work with.
Yeah.
So we understand what is the average expectation for a business in your service area and what are you doing currently, and just simple math from there on.
Okay.
So with any good website, you must have analytics. And with this, you're looking at Google Analytics 4, Google Search Console, Microsoft Clarity, and you can use SEO tools such as Ahrefs, which is our personal favorite at our farm. And you can also use, there are several others like SEMrush or
SEMrush, yeah, SEMrush is good.
SimilarWeb. But
Yeah.
for us, we prefer Ahrefs. And we're also developing our own tools by, you know, consolidating data from our clients, especially in the Kenyan industry. Because something we found about these tools is that they tend to have a lot of data you can work with, but most of the time the data is not relevant to our local market.
Okay.
So that's where we come in. We try to consolidate data from all of our clients that we've worked with here in Kenya, and that's more than 80 businesses. And these businesses tend to have several websites, so we are working with a lot of data. It's all data analytics, simple mathematics, and the average lifetime value of a client and the average value of a client.
Why do you
Yeah,
think you prefer Ahrefs than the other softwares?
there are several ways that you can approach this, and our thought process is always about doing what works and
Yeah.
finding a way to solve the problem. So I wouldn't say that there is a cookie cutter approach to finding out what works on your website. There is no one size fits all answer. It's all about what works, but then you don't want to rely on one tool alone because we found these tools to be inconsistent. Like we have a client whom we've been working with for about 2 years now. They're a service-based business. They're located here in Nairobi, but they have branches in Mombasa. They have a branch in Kisumu. They have a branch in Kitale, and they have a branch in Nakuru. And with their data, what we see on Google Analytics and Google Search Console is totally different from what we see on Ahrefs. Now, Ahrefs is not completely useless because from that we can track so many things like the backlink profile. We can analyze the competition,
Okay.
yeah, but you cannot rely on one tool alone. It's a combination of all these tools that helps you make an informed decision. We
Okay.
call it the decision making process that's data driven.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot rely on only one tool. It's a mix of all, but you want to use as many tools as you can. But the most important tool that you can have is tracking what's happening on the website itself.
Okay.
That's where Google Analytics comes in, Microsoft Clarity, because with Microsoft Clarity, you're able to even see video recordings of how people are interacting with your website.
Okay.
You can see how they're scrolling, you can see what they're clicking on, you
Okay.
can view the heat map profile of what points on your website are people paying the most attention to, and this helps you uncover the hidden things that are losing you money, such as the friction points, and that's where you'll now add proof. For example, when you're building a website and you have a landing page, you've communicated the value, and then you disclose the price. If you're selling to a premium client, a lot of times the price is going to be high.
Yeah.
You're charging somebody, hey, $3,000, or you're asking for 250,000 shillings. The first thing on their person's mind is, Am I safe doing business with you? Should I trust you? Is this going to work? And right beneath that, and we've proven this through time by incorporating it into many websites. That's an ideal place where you'll want to put in the testimonials. And the better the testimonials, the higher the chances that you're going to build trust. So if you can get written testimonials, that's good. If you can get video testimonials,
Yeah.
that's even so much better.
Yeah, yeah. I always like the video testimonials because people can see the like it's real.
It's real.
Someone can't fake a video. Yeah,
Absolutely.
people can't fake a video. So the more videos, I always like video testimonials a lot,
Exactly.
and I always emphasize on my clients. I advise get as many as possible. The more testimonials you have, you will
Better.
have the easiest sell in the world. Like you won't have to convince anyone. People
Exactly.
will line up on your business like they want to do as a they just want to do business with you because they trust you. Because
Exactly.
if they see like other people are already vouching for you, they'll be like, this is a safe place for me to to buy something from, be it a product or service. So most people always do like the written. You
Yeah.
can do the Google reviews. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Google reviews is
Yeah,
good. You can use Trustpilot.
trust
You can
pilots.
use G2A, especially if you're selling software.
Okay.
That's G2A.com. There are so many places, but when you're working with Google uh, or Trustpilot or any of those industry players, these are already trusted. They tend to verify the reviews, but those alone are not sufficient. And
Okay.
especially when you're trying to break past the 3 million shillings mark, you've seen a lot of really big brands actually do this. Some people don't really pay attention, but you find that companies like Equity
Yeah.
or Safaricom or banks such as I've seen Consolidated Bank, Cooperative Bank, they tend to get a few of their really good clients and get them to appear on video talking about the problems they had, whether you had
Yeah.
problems with your farming and they were able to give you a loan and how did that benefit you. You had a kiosk,
Yeah.
they gave
Exactly.
you a loan and you pushed it up into a mini mart.
Exactly.
So you want to get video reviews, and that's key to breaking past certain financial barriers because what got you to 500,000 shillings in revenue is not the
Okay.
same thing that's going to get you to a million. It's not the same that's going to get you to 3 million. It's not the same thing that's going to get you past the 3 million to 10 million and more.
Okay.
So you want to get as much video reviews, and it's always about tracking how people are interacting
Tracking.
with your product. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
key thing. Understand your customers, build for them, make them happy, get feedback, see how they're interacting with your tools. That's how you move on.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Makes so much sense. Where do you recommend placing testimonials or proof for maximum impact? Where do you think is the best place to put testimonials?
So that actually builds on to a point we discussed earlier, where tracking how people are interacting with your product, your service, and your website. We use tools. The key one that we use to track the heat maps, which in data analytics is finding out where people are paying close attention to. It's used in so many industries. This is not new technology. It's not anything revolutionary. For those of you who like sports, if you watch the NBA, the NFL, or football, or some call it soccer,
Yeah.
you know that there are those heat maps. They are shown you as part of the after game analysis,
Yeah. Yeah.
or the post match analysis. They'll show you the heat maps of, oh, where was the ball concentrated, where were most players, where was most of the action happening. And we do that on websites as well. We need to know how people are scrolling on your website, which places they are paying attention to. And with revolutionary AI, we now have testing tools that actually allow us to track the eyes of your users.
Okay.
But for that, we'll now have people coming into our offices and we'll track how exactly they're using the website because individual feedback tends to be a bit misleading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, the things that you cannot control, like how your eyes move, can tell a lot more about how you're interacting with something.
Okay.
So it's all about understanding how the clients are interacting with the product. And then when we identify the friction points, those are the best places to put the testimonials because that's now how you build trust.
Okay.
And some of the friction points, and the most common one is the price.
Hmm.
When you disclose the price, and That is key in decision making for many people. Like, how much am I going to pay for this? That's where you put in the testimonials. Somebody needs to understand that, hey, this thing is going to work. It has worked for other people. And as you know, human beings like social validation.
Exactly.
So if you see that something has been good for somebody, you think, yeah, it's probably going to be good for me
Good
too.
for me too. Yeah.
So if it has worked for somebody, it's probably going to work for me too. And that applies in so many industries. Whether you're selling vehicles, whether you do uh, vehicle wrapping and custom modifications, whether you're a dentist, whether you're a beauty and cosmetics company, people need to know that, is this serum going to work for me? Is your moisturizer going to work for me? Is
Yeah.
this going to fix the issues that I have on my skin? Is this going to fix the eczema?
Okay.
Those are key points.
Key points.
But
Okay.
I would summarize it all in saying that you put testimonials where the friction happens on your website.
Okay.
And how do you identify the friction? You identify it through uh, interacting with the customers, testing them out, and doing user research. And you also use sophisticated tools such as Google Analytics, Hotjar. You
Yeah.
can use SEMrush. You can use Ahrefs
Okay.
and Microsoft Clarity, which
Okay.
allows you to actually see how people are using your website. You can see recordings, and you can find out how people are actually getting to the forms on your website, filling in the forms, and that's where you put the testimonials
What's your test to see if a homepage is doing its job?
to find out whether your homepage is doing the job. And I might go on to say that this is not just the homepage alone, but any landing page on your website, the service pages. It's about, my team calls it the 10-second test.
Okay.
Realistically, in the world, it takes about 8 seconds for somebody to make a decision on your website, but eight is not a very satisfying number. So we go with the 10-second test. And with this, we tend to uh, do actual user testing to find out whether a complete stranger can figure out what your website does, what your business is about, who do you serve, and how do you benefit them within the first 10 seconds. And that's where the hero section comes in. This hero section will be on the homepage, on the service pages, or on any landing pages, especially if you're going to be running ads. You want people to be driven to a landing page. If your website does not answer what you do, who you do it for, and how it benefits people, and it doesn't drive them to take action using call to action buttons, then you're failing on the 10-second test.
Okay.
You want people to be able to understand what exactly you're doing and be able to take an action. And on these pages, you'll then go on to build trust. You'll have social proof, and that's how you go on to make a sale
Hmm.
or lead somebody from being a complete stranger who didn't know anything about your business to trusting you and being willing to do business with you.
Okay.
That's how you make a sale.
How do you track what parts of the website are actually making money?
So for any website, to track which pages are making you money, you need analytics. And with that, you want to think of Hotjar, Google Analytics 4, Microsoft Clarity, because those are tools that help you track cookies, which a lot of people don't understand, but cookies are small data packets that are saved on your browser. And using cookies, we can see which pages people are landing on before getting to the contact forms. And when you use analytics, you can also see which landing pages are getting the most leads. And essentially, you can also just do simple mathematics where you look at how many people are getting onto the contact page versus how many people are actually filling in the contact information. A lot of people we see don't really take into account or don't pay a lot of attention to tracking, and they don't just track deep enough. So you may have a website that's maybe getting you a few leads here and there, but you don't really know what's working. And without understanding what exactly is working, it's incredibly difficult for you to be able to replicate that on other pages, other businesses, or to even just understand what's going to help you scale up.
How do you help brands speak to premium clients instead of the average customer?
So you have to understand the customer behavior, what they value, what they care about. Uh, Something about premium clients is that they always have somebody trying to sell them something. When somebody is generating a lot of revenue, they get a lot of visibility out there. There's always somebody trying to propose something to them. There's somebody trying to sell them something. Now, with this kind of clientele, you want to know that they want to to feel understood. They want to know that you're telling a story which resonates with them, their problems, the things they value, their outlook and perspective of life. And something we've seen a lot of high end or premium clients is that they care about quality and deliverability, reliability, as opposed to price.
Mm.
And so your website needs to take into account all of that. It's about the storytelling, the messaging, what call to actions are you using, and how are you building trust. Essentially,
Okay.
your website needs to say, this is what we do, this is who we do it for, we have done this before, and this is how we can help you. Those
Okay.
are the key principles to selling to a premium client.
Mm. It's very important for people to understand the psychology behind how to sell to premium clients. It's very different from selling to the average customer. So it's something people should really, really, really pay attention to how you are. Everything coming down to your website, what you need to do. There are certain things that you need to do on your site to optimize for that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Conversion rate optimization is what we
yeah.
call it, or CRO in short.
CRO, yeah.
You want to optimize the pages for your target audience, and you would never know the target audience unless you're working with a strategic partner. That's where firms like ours come in. That's where ad partners like you come in.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need to
Yeah.
work with professionals who have a lot of data, a lot of experience, people who have been in the trenches and they know what works, what doesn't work, and how do you deal with what's not working, how do you optimize what's working. And
Okay.
without that, you're essentially just guessing. And pardon my French, but it's like throwing shit at the
At
wall
the
and trying to
wall,
see what
what
sticks.
sticks? Yeah. So you need to be
Yeah,
very precise in
you need to be very precise.
everything that you're doing has to have a very high intent.
Exactly.
What do you think will happen if a business double their conversion rate without more ad spends? What do you think about that?
So to double your conversion rate, first of all, let me add a bit of context. That's conversion rate optimization. When you double your conversion rate, you're cutting down the cost of acquiring new clients or new leads or making a sale. So think of it this way: if you're spending 200,000 shillings monthly on your ads, if you double your optimization, your conversion rate from 1% to 2%, essentially it's like you're spending 100,000 on ads now. It's no longer 200,000. That's what uh, doubling your conversion rate is going to do. And the higher your conversion rate, uh, the less money you're spending if you look at it mathematically and in terms of data.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you'll be acquiring more leads while spending the same amount of money on ads.
So do you think most websites have clear, confident call to action?
No, unfortunately not. And we know this because as of today, we have more than 1.1 billion websites on the internet. And
Hmm.
can I ask you, what do you think most of these websites have in common?
I would say 90% of them, they don't know what they're doing. That's what I can say.
Exactly. They don't know what they're doing. And I might even go on to add and say that something that most of these websites have in common is that they're not making any money.
Yeah,
So for you to have a website that generates revenue and works as an asset for your business, you need to consider the call to actions on your website.
yeah,
And for you to come up with the proper call to actions, you need to understand how the customers go about making a purchase decision on your website, how they go about contacting your business. And the most websites, you asked me whether they have the right call to action. And we've done a lot of website redesigns for businesses. We tend to have a lot of clients who come in with a website that they got when they were starting, and at that point they didn't have a budget for it. And in my honest opinion, and my firm, we don't recommend that if you don't have the budget for a website, you shouldn't get a website
yeah.
because it's an asset. But like any other asset, there is inputs for it to have an output. So you find that they did a website, they got somebody off of Fiverr, they paid very little money, or they got a student in university who's still learning what to do, and they got a shoddy website that nothing has been done correctly. And some of the bad call to actions that we've seen are learn more. A lot of times you see websites, they have a hero section with a bit of copy, captivating image, and then they say learn more.
Mm.
What am I learning more about? Is it your business? Is it you, the founder? Is it about my problem? What am I learning more about?
Yeah.
So you always want to have action driven call to action buttons on your website, which is book a call, book now, reserve a spot, book a seat, request a quote, request a callback. All those are things that drive a user to take action because they understand, okay, this is what you do, this is who you do it for, this is why I should trust you, and then this is the next step that I should take. And that can lead them to a contact page. It can lead them to your, if you're using a, CRM tool like HubSpot or Calendly to maybe book a spot or reservation. You can even lead them to any other place that you prefer people to contact you, and it could be your WhatsApp, it could be anything, but you want to use action oriented call to action buttons because there's a reason why it's called a call to action. You're asking people to take an action, but then you need to know what do you want these people to do. Learn more is the worst thing that we've ever seen, and we see a lot of businesses still doing it in this decade, which is
Yeah,
just incredible.
it's incredible. Yeah. So learn more is a really people always defaulted to using learn more. And it's so vague. There's
It's so
no
vague.
people really don't know. Okay, well, what am I like? It's so vague, and they need to change that. I think so.
Yeah,
Definitely.
with this, you always need to approach what you're doing from the customer's perspective.
Okay.
And when you have a team that builds a strategy for you, we do a lot of the testing for you so that you don't have to go into the field to find people to ask questions. And we tend to establish where the friction points are. We come up with the questions that clients understand.
Okay.
And something that a lot of people don't know this, but we tell this to a lot of our clients is that we tend to test with so many people, so many demographics. And me personally, for any project that I've done, I tend to share it with my father and mother. I
Mm.
show it to them, and they are complete strangers. They are, I think, what you'd consider boomers.
Yeah.
So they're not very sophisticated, I'd say, when it comes to technology, but they have an idea of what they want.
Yeah.
So when I
Exactly.
show them a tool and it's confusing to them, I'm like, okay, we need to do something about this.
Immediately. Yeah.
Change the wording. You want to use simple language, and you want to make it about them.
Let's say a business is doing like more than 3M in revenue a month. Okay.
That'll be 3 million shillings. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 million shillings per month. So, do you think guesswork is still acceptable in that kind of in that level when you want to scale past 3 million shillings?
So when you're doing more than 3 million shillings, uh, I'm sure as a business you already figured out a lot of things that work with the business side of things. You know where to source the products. You know how to manage your human resource, and you probably have a few tools that you're already working with. But then at that point, you need to take out guesswork, which in this context, I'm thinking you refer to just trying different things and then looking at the overall outcome. Like, oh, let's add this and these pages, and then oh, maybe there is a spike in revenue, but you don't really pay attention to what exactly caused that spike. So at that point, we highly recommend that you need to incorporate a lot of data-driven decision making into your processes. You need to have a budget for ads, but then on top of that, you also need to have tracking. You need to understand what's working, what's not working. And when you're going beyond that stage, you can never stop testing. Testing is important, but at this point, you're not guessing. You're testing while looking at the data. When you're growing to that point, you probably already have an idea of a lot of things. And when you're dealing with ad partners such as uh, Ian
Exactly.
here, he does testing a lot. And you've told
Exactly.
me several times you have clients running up to 50 different ads at the same time,
Yeah.
and you're always looking at the numbers. And on the CRO and web design side of things, we tend to do the same. We have analytics, we have Clarity, where we can, Microsoft Clarity allows us to watch recordings of how people are interacting with your website.
Okay.
Somebody is seeing the website is taking too long to load and they click right off. We see that. If a client is spending a lot of time on a specific section of your website, we understand that. And we have a lot of theories, and we tend to have your target demographic come over and actually test our product and give us feedback. And we understand where the friction points are. And I
Mm.
think tackling these friction points are key, and getting client feedback are extremely important and crucial when you're trying to scale up beyond that 3 million shillings mark, because the tactics that got you here are not the same that are going to get you up there to compete with the actual brands and businesses that are now scaling way up beyond the 3 million shillings mark.
When you're doing let's say 3M. in revenue per month, Kenya
Yes,
shillings. There's an aspect where you know what's working. Okay, you already have an idea.
exactly. You're not a beginner.
You're not a beginner, so you already know you have an idea of what to do. But for you to go from 3M, let's say to 5M or past 3M, you have to shift a little bit of your perspective on how you're going your strategy. Exactly.
Exactly. It's all about
So
strategy.
yeah, for you, what to go to here, what to go to there. So
Exactly.
you have to understand like how you're going to improve every time you want to climb the ladder of revenue ladder. So from 0 to 3M, at least you have an idea of what's working.
Yeah.
You're in the right direction, but you can't get comfortable. You can't just say, okay, now I'm good. So this will whatever got me here will get me to another destination. But it doesn't work that way. You need to always be optimizing. You need to be testing. You need to try different things. I need to bring
Exactly.
an expert that will take to the next level. And it's a really big thing. And people should, most brands should really take a keynote on that. Like what got you here won't get you there. You need to always be testing and trying different things and bringing an expert who can get you to the next level.
Exactly. I mean, when you say what got you here, want to get you there, you have to think of it as a lemonade stand. When you
Yeah,
start selling, or when your kids start selling lemonade out in the street, there are certain tactics that will work for them. You may have certain posters drawn with crayons. That may get them a few sales, but when they go on from that to now having a kiosk, the tactics change.
yeah,
And then they go on from doing a kiosk to partnering with brands to sell their products, they're going to employ different tactics. And when they scale up beyond that to a point where they now have their own soft drink with their own branding and their own marketing, they're going to employ different tactics. So you cannot just rely on the same things that you're doing before because that's stagnation. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
yeah,
It doesn't work that way. And when you're looking to compete with the actual industry players, and in this context, I want you to think of it as when you go onto the internet and you search for, let's say, running shoes,
yeah.
one of the key brands that you're going to see pop up is Nike,
Nike.
Adidas, maybe New Balance. When you're searching, maybe finance, there are certain brands that are going to show up. And when you're scaling up beyond the 3M mark, you need to employ similar tactics that those brands are employing to compete with them.
Yeah,
So with that, you need to take a lot of the guesswork. And we live in the data-driven age where we use data-driven tactics and data analytics to make sense of all the noise. So
yeah,
you want to be a lot more precise in your decision making. You want to do a lot of testing, and you want to look at what's working, what isn't working, and figure out why certain things are not working for you.
exactly. Yeah, we can all agree to that.